So tell me, what is human progress? I know we people have our different lenses and we use these lenses to see the progress, to evaluate it, and to check it. But if I ask you what is that foundational source or what that seminal force on which this human civilization of the society progresses, then what would be your response? Now, to this also, we may have a number of reasons and the factors working all together in a combined manner, right? But still, there is one thing which is huge and its significance cannot be undermined, and that is human capacity of asking question. Right now, today I will deal with this very issue of questioning mind, and to this I will take a reference of one book called The Public Intellectual in India, written by Romila Thapar. This book, in many sense, I think is one of the finest books which responses many of the general questions. So Romila Thapar writes in this book that the entire human society or a civilization is always erected on one this foundational source of human capacity, that is humans' way of asking question. But at the same time, she also highlights that we have to be a little careful in doing a little distinction between questioning mind and the second is to just ask a question. Remember, there are two forms of question. Number one, where the question only leads to a certain form of information. So, for example, if I say or ask you, what's the time? Then to this, I will only have the information. The contribution of this information may have that ramification, especially in the overall growth or the development of society. But still, it's just an information. And information is a subject to change, which means it keeps changing, right? But at the same time, if someone has questioning mind, then this sound something different, and this is what Romila Thapar is talking about, and what this questioning mind is. So to understand this, let's understand that what makes questioning mind different from to just ask a simple question. Remember, questioning mind, as it infers that very notion of cognitive practices, right? So whenever our cognitive is engaged or in the line of critical analysis, and then anything comes out as a result of it, it is called questioning mind, which means the functioning of our intellect for a certain reason or on a certain doubt is basically the one is called questioning mind according to Romila Thapar. So for this, there at least should be a doubt. See, questioning mind cannot be processed without a proper doubt. So there must be a doubt first of all, and doubt must be reasonable. Now let me bring in these two important philosophies before you, so that this very whole concept of questioning mind and to ask a general question could be even more simplified to you. So there is one philosopher called Descartes. According to him, that we must keep asking question to everything, and this way of questioning, according to him, is the key source of progress. We should not accept anything out of feeling emotions, and therefore it's important to question. Against it, there is also philosophy called Nyaya philosophy, Indian philosophy, which says that we must ask question, but remember, the question must be based on certain doubt. The same language is used by Descartes, but Descartes is basically pushing us to ask question on every event happens to you, whereas Nyaya philosophy says that ask question only when doubt arises, whereas Descartes says if there is no doubt, then you have to create a doubt and then ask a question. Now Nyaya philosophy is very clear. It says that life is very short, and when you start questioning everything, then it will only lead this very called wasting of time, and therefore there will be a great loss of human capacity, humans capital, humans time, and thus we have to be very careful in asking question. So there must be a doubt, and doubt must be based on a certain knowledge, and then let the brain process critical analysis take place, and whatever comes out will be a result of this critical analysis, which is called the cognitive exercise of brain, right? And that what makes this very questioning worthy. You cannot ask question by creating or manufacturing doubt. That will be a complete wastage of time. So for example, if I agree to this very idea of or instruction of Descartes, then I have to even question this very existence of this very mic I'm holding, communicating to you. What is this? Why it is mic? Something like this. So I think such question must not be asked. Question must be raised on the valid doubt, and once the question or the doubt is resolved, then it must not be repeated, right? Otherwise it becomes simply hell. In fact, Nyaya philosophy and even both Romila Thapar says that this very habit of questioning everything leads us to develop this very skeptic attitude, and it's really dangerous and it's very difficult to manage because it takes us to very stagnation of mind, which is called paralysis of action. When you are skeptic throughout and you are questioning everything, then you are doing nothing but just being paralyzed, unable to move, unable to act. You just keep thinking and thinking. Life becomes miserable of such people. So we have people of such mentality. So here we have to be very clear and be consistent with the Nyaya philosophy, not the Descartes philosophy. In fact, Romila Thapar says that Descartes philosophies did contribute to this enlightenment or this new modern age, but not as much as what the Nyaya philosophy could do, because Nyaya philosophy is the real and it's practically acceptable. Now, after these things are clear, we also must understand the very other important point being raised by Romila Thapar in the same book. Romila Thapar also talks about this very nature of questioning, where she says that methodological questioning is good, but at the same time methodological non-questioning is equally dangerous, because it makes society very degenerated in terms of technological advancement. It also kills the very creative spirit of the people, right? And how it does, let's also understand this. So what happens in this very nature of methodological non-questioning, here what happens that we don't ask questions just because of we believe certain thing is right, and it is right because someone has said it. Sometimes out of our habit we don't question certain thing because it has been ever in the same way, it has been understood in the same way, and therefore we don't raise any question against it. Romila Thapar says that out of a habit or something is authenticated by certain authority or culturally accepted, I think it's not the reason or should not be the reason for anyone to accept that practice or the very idea or anything. We must also ask question on this. So someone has said something because he is authority, doesn't it mean that it has to be right all the time? And that part of human brain's activity, what you call the cognitive practice, Romila Thapar is talking about and is promoting. We understand the very purpose of bringing in this very kind of need for people to understand that why we have to develop a certain kind of rationality or attitude of asking question, because when we don't ask questions in this way, we ultimately give right to other to act whimsically, and it also becomes a reason for the downfall of values, ethic values, or scientific temperament. One of the biggest reasons for vastly rooted superstitious practice into our habit is this very practice of methodological non-questioning. So we have to rise above it and start asking question and not being able to accept it just because of someone has said it. And that is called questioning mind, was also symbolized in the image of Socrates himself, where he always talked and promoted for questioning things. So how important and significant this very practice of human's mind, where it needs to be engaged in rightful question, the worthy question. And what are these worthy questions? Yes, methodological questioning, number one, and to reject methodological non-questioning. And this will ensure the progress, the point where we started this video, the core and the foundational seminal force of human civilization on which it thrives day after day, centuries after centuries. So develop this very questioning attitude, but not limited to the very idea of questions leading informations. It must be shifted from questioning leading to transformational change in the society. The answer to that question must have huge ramifications, positive ramifications in all domains, on all aspects of life. And if we do this, this would be a great understanding, as well as would be a great step in the right direction. So this is what I wanted to share. Till then, take care, bye bye.